You could have an upfront fee, or, or you could have a percentage.
No, hold on a minute. Let's stick with that thing. I'm trying to find some multiple streams of income. That upfront fee, I call a mobilisation fee. Now, obviously, you can. It's only semantics, but it's when you're talking about multiple streams of income, is often how you package things and pitch things as to how people will actually pay you and receive you. And I've always found if you say to somebody, oh, I want an upfront fee, that's unpalatable, whereas a mobilisation thing, it's still exactly the same thing and still exactly the same amount of money, but suddenly it's become palatable, alright? So what's the other fee that I might get? I get a mobilisation fee, I'm going to raise you 10 million. I want a mobilisation fee so I can actually start a success fee, but that's a bit further down the road, right?
Engagement fee.
Success fee. There's another fee that I might get, monthly retainer. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
So I've got my mobilisation fee, but I need to know you're going to stick with me doing the business plan, pulling it all together, month after month after month while the package is coming together, monthly retainer. Right, what else might I get? A success fee when I've actually raised the money, normally 5%. So if I raise you £1 million, how much are you going to give me? Yeah, how much is that?
50,000.
50 grand. Yeah. And if I raise you 2 million, how much are you going to give me?
100,000.
100 grand. Right. Okay. Now, you see how important the income paper is. Before we get to that stage there, we need that income paper. Because you imagine if I raise somebody 2 million quid, and they've got the money, and if I didn't have income paper and I said, oh, you owe me 100 grand, what do you think would happen next? Hey, what? So you can see, you've got income paper, you're going to get your 50 or your 100 grand, alright? What in that fundraising thing, what other fees might come my way? Multiple streams of income. We're all the time looking for another stream of income. Where could some other money come from? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah? Brian Rowbottom, ex-finance director of Tether and Greenwood, City Stockbrokers, 30 million turnover, 10 million profit. He came on board as finance director. So the first stockbroker I took these guys into didn't want to talk to my client. First thing he says to Ken Piggott, you're ex-chairman of Boots. Why have you joined this guy? So he says, oh well, he says, I've retired now, twiddling my thumbs. Took a shine to Michael. He says, I think with some money behind us, we could make this thing fly. Okay? So, 20 minutes, they were prepared to pitch for an hour. 20 minutes into the story, the stockbroker said, I've heard enough. He says, count me in for the first $1 million. So my client, who's been trying for 2 years to raise money, right, nearly fell off his chair. He's got the first $1 million. We've raised him more since then, and even without my help now, he's gone on to raise quite a few million more. He's the biggest in the UK now, not selling glasses anymore. He's still selling glasses, but he's the biggest in the UK selling contact lenses online. They've raised quite a few million. They've bought out all of the major players selling contact lenses. But the point of the story was getting income paper is a crucial bit, and you do that before you've raised the money. So I'm just going to try and see if I can find a little paragraph that we got in here before we actually got in the money, and I'm pretty sure I will be able to find it. But you know what it's like with paper, you can never... Oh, here it is. Ron Holland of Eureka Corporate Services is granted an option to subscribe to 1 million ordinary shares, basically at no cost, right, providing I raise the money. Now, the fact that that's in there, right, so what do you think happened when I raised him the money? What do you think happened? As that deal went down, he's got his $1 million plus, what do you think happened to me?
Get successfully.
I got, how much was that?
5%.
50 grand, and those 1 million shares. Did I have to ask for the 1 million shares? Why?
Income paper.
Income paper. Is that a valuable lesson? So, I got my mobilisation fee, my monthly retainer, my success fee, and my equity. We are talking about multiple streams of income today, yeah? I haven't lost the plot anywhere, no, okay. So you see how that is ever so important from one deep field, yeah?
Do you mind saying how long it took?
All of these
How many
take,
months?
oh, quite a few months, yeah. Some take longer than others. But the beautiful thing with this one, the first broker I took him to put in the money. Now, it doesn't always happen like that, and we're going to go over quite a few more, and I'll slip in some details on each one of them as we go.
But longer it takes, more you earn, because you get monthly.
Yeah. But the truth is, on these things we don't try to drag it out,
Okay.
because the truth is on these projects, and I suggest on your own projects, momentum is the key. And if you can't get momentum into a project where it's snowballing up all the time, the opposite of momentum is you've got that downhill thing. If you've got momentum, people like Ken Pigger, the money, tend to jump on a project. If you've got the upward momentum, if you've got downward momentum, people tend to jump off projects.
Yeah.
So the truth is, projects are driven, and you really want to drive things to create that momentum, where it's exciting and people want to get on the bandwagon.
Is there any time limit when you do the thing like ink on paper? Is there any time limit for that?
Yeah. I mean, normally, I normally put my mentorship things now 6 months, and at the end of it, I say renewable subject to mutual agreement,
Yeah.
right? But we try to make things happen as quickly as we can. Okay. Let me just show you another one that is kind of interesting, and I hope it's here. Maybe here, maybe not be here. Here it is. Now, this is what we do a lot, and I do think it's valuable. And there's quite a few of these I'll show you. This is a client of mine. He's luxury leather goods, handbags, beautiful. I just put the light on briefly so you can see it. And I've only got the lights off because it makes it very hot in here. So you can see what he does. Now, when I met this client, which was just before Christmas, he didn't have a brochure, nothing at all. And very small kind of business, and wanted to raise some money for expansion and everything. Didn't have any celebrities on board. He said, look, I'm only a small guy, no celebrities will come on board with me. That would make a big difference if I had celebrity endorsement, make a big difference if I could raise some money. Didn't have a brochure, nothing at all. So I said, well, first thing we'll do, we'll package you up nicely. So I told him what to do in putting a brochure together. And then I explained to him, I didn't do it for him, I'm a business mentor. And when people take me on as a mentor, I say, you really understand what a mentor is? A mentor tells you what to do. He doesn't do any work himself, right? You've got that. He doesn't do any work. He tells you what to do. So I will tell you what to do, but you can get celebrities just like that. Bang! So within months, let me show you who he got. Once I came on board, you can see there's Fern Cotton. Have you heard of Fern Cotton?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Catherine Jenkins? Yeah? You've heard of her? Have you heard of Pixie Locke? Have you heard of the girl with the big, what's it? Jordan? Did you? Yeah, I've forgotten her name. Jordan. She's got another name as well, hasn't she? Katie Price. We had a full page with her in the Metro the other day with the handbag. Right, so we've got loads of celebrity endorsements on board as well, and there's more to come. Okay, so he's got his brochure, he's got his celebrity endorsements, and we're talking to lots and lots of people about putting big money in. Now, with all of my clients, I always instruct them, this thing of implementation, making things happen regardless of whether you get the money or not. So we know how difficult it is, so I've drummed it into him, and I do a lot of hypnosis with my mentoring clients as well. So under hypnosis, in meetings like this, you've got to make something happen. You've got to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Do not just rely on a successful fundraising. And I said, between us, we will crank up all sorts of opportunities. So just recently, he's just come back from China, and he came back ever so disappointed. This is what they've put together for him. They did all of this. It's all in Chinese, so I don't know what it says. It's probably good stuff, right? And he came back. I met him at Heathrow, and he says, I'm a bit disappointed. I said, what is it, Alan? He said, well, he says, I went over there to sign up €6 million deal, and he said it's come back, he says it's nearer 40 million. I says, well, why are you disappointed? He says, well, he says, I've got so much work to do now. He says, they want shoes, they want this, they want that. He says, they want 2 flagship stores, we're in 200 stores. He says, oh my God. So he wasn't really disappointed, he was blown away. I said, have we raised the money yet? No, he says, we haven't raised any money at all yet, Ron, but he says, I've done what you've told me to do, we're going to do it anyway. So is that a coup for a client or what? He is delighted. Now the point is, he's got that deal, and I'm absolutely sure now he's got that, is that going to make it easier for me to raise money for it? Yeah. Of course it is, because instead of me showing that to people, I can show that and that. We're already in 200 stores and 2 flagship stores in China. Does that make it easier? Yeah. So do you know what he said to me the other day? He said, Ron, he says, I haven't forgotten that day one when I met you where I wasn't flat, wasn't going up there, was going down the gurgler. And he says, I've seen what you've done for me, right? And he says, I'm going to tell you now, and he's done me a fantastic testimonial, but he's hung on every word I've told him about not just to rely on the money. You've got to click things in, you've got to keep implementing regardless, all right? And he's a living proof of that. Is that exciting or what? He came back, I've never been to China, but he said they treated him, they showed him all. He said they took him to Shanghai, and he says just in Shanghai alone, there's like 12 luxury districts where they sell Hermes bags, Cartier watches. He said it's just incredible and vast. And he had meetings with government officials and all sorts, not just the people. Third richest man in China he met, absolutely full of it. So just an exciting story. Is that exciting? Or is it just me who's excited? Okay, that's all right. I got excited once. Do you want to hear another story?
Yes.
I had a guy not all that long ago, and he phoned me up from... I've got to get the story right. He phoned me up from Slovakia, but he's not from Slovakia, he's from Austria. And his name's Bernie. And he phoned me up, he says, Ron, he says, do you remember me? I am a client of yours, and we haven't spoken for quite a while, but he says, I'm the guy who's read all your books. And he says, some time ago I phoned you up, we had a conversation, and we have got ink on paper. He made the joke. He says, we have got ink on paper. He says, I'm the guy who's turning Talk and Grow Rich into German. And my Talk and Grow Rich has sold in not hundreds, but like dozens of different languages. The one language it's not in is German. So when he said, can I translate it into German? I said, absolutely. So he phoned me up. He says, we do know each other. I'm a client of yours, I've read all your books, I've done the German translation. He says, I see you've got a cash flow magic workshop on. He says, you might have noticed I've booked myself into, this was a month or two back, I've booked myself into the cash flow magic workshop, but he says, I need a favour. I said, what is it, Bernie? So we know each other now, we've got ink on paper, we're doing business together. He said, that's right. He said, I want to come over, and he says, I need some advice from you. He says, because I've got 4 chocolate shops in Slovakia, not one of them's making a profit. Can you help me? What do you think I said?
Yes.
Yeah. I said, no, I don't like chocolate. I said, come and see me. So he's booked in on the Cash Flow Magic Shop. I know he's going to bring the German translation. He's going to close down his 4 chocolate shops. And I'm thinking, what can he do to start making money immediately? Okay? Now, have you ever heard of the expression, find a warm market? Right? Find a hungry market. Have you ever heard that expression? So who's going to tell me what a hungry marketplace is?
Somewhere where there's a need that isn't being fulfilled.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Who else?
Yeah, where there's more demand than supply, basically.
A hungry marketplace. Who's taking notes? Everybody. A hungry marketplace. So I said, you're going to come over and see me. I said, Cash Flow Magic Shop workshops in about a week's time. I said, let me just kind of put that in my bio computer. And I said, I'll come up with something that I think you'll be able to make a big load of money off. Very, very quickly. So I kind of fed it into my mind, He's going to close down his chocolate shops. He's got a head office. What could we do for him where it suddenly clicks in and starts making a big load of money? So I woke up the next morning after I put that program in my brain, and I woke up as I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My eyes popped open, and immediately I've gone ping, and I got it. Hungry Marketplace, right? So I phoned him up. And I said, Bernie, I said, you're not going to believe this, but I said, I've got an idea and I want to bounce it off of you. And I said, if you like it, do some research on it before you come over next week to the Cash Flow Magic Workshop. And I said, if you like it, maybe there's something we can do here. Because I said, I think it's a hungry marketplace. And I said, I wouldn't mind putting some money in and becoming a partner with you, because I can see this just taking off. He said, well, what's the idea? What's the idea? And I kept in hanging on a bit because I'm like that. So I said, well, I was just going to have some eggs and bacon, Bernie. It's 5 o'clock in the morning here. Do you want me to tell you now, or shall I have my breakfast first? No, he says, tell me now, tell me now. So I said, well, I've got a hunch. I said, I've never been to Slovakia, but I said, I have been to lots of Eastern European countries. And I said, am I right in saying there's lots of attractive girls there? Absolutely. I said, am I right in saying that those girls in Slovakia can come to London and live here and stay here with no visa, nothing at all, straight in, entry and live here? Absolutely, he says, there's no visa requirements. I said, do you think, because the average wage is so low in Slovakia, 60 quid a week, do you think a lot of those girls would like to come here and marry discerning gentlemen who've got houses, cars, money? He says, you're talking about a dating agency. I said, yeah, but I said, with a bit of a difference. He said, I love it already. I said, well, I said, if you think that's a hungry marketplace, I said, before you come over next week, do a week's worth of research, and if you like it, we'll go into a bit of the detail. So he came over for the Cash Flow Magic Workshop. He's closed down his 4 chocolate shops, and he didn't want to talk about anything else other than this dating agency. That's all he could think about. So anyway, he did a load of research. He said, Ron, this can fly. I said, well, wait till you hear my unique application. I said, this is not internet dating. I said, I will pay for the flights of those girls and the hotel rooms for them just to come over here, put them up in a lovely hotel, put on some entertainment for them, some lunches, some restaurants, and we'll introduce them to private members who've joined our club to be part of it. So we put this website together, and I have to tell you, I've never seen Jatinda lose his rank, but that's unusual. Jatinda did such a good job on this website. People are blown away, but they cannot believe the amount of work and time and effort he's put into getting it. It is incredible what we've got. So we've got this romantic London website, we've got something coming together, and it's one of those things that is already bringing in money. Click, and Bernie can't believe it. It's only not even live yet, but it's bringing in money. And there is an opportunity there for people who think they can introduce male members to the club. So I'm going to pass that around. And we'll talk about it again a bit later, but I just wanted to share that with you. If you could take one and pass it along, that would be great. There is an opportunity there for you to be part of this opportunity, all right? And some of you are looking for business opportunities, but there's money to be made in a hungry marketplace, okay? How many people in this room are in businesses now, or in a business where they think they're not in a hungry marketplace? Who's operating a business when they're not in a hungry marketplace? Anybody? Everybody's operating in a hungry marketplace. That's incredible.
One of the things I do is a bit saturated.
Okay. That's all right. But you're taking this point on board. If you've got something where there's a hungry marketplace, it just takes off like absolutely like crazy. So we will talk about that a bit later when you've had time to assimilate it. What I want to talk to you about now is a marketing method that a lot of people don't know about and they don't understand, but it's helped me create quite a number of millionaires, right? And I'm just going to show it to you if I can find it. And it amazes me where bits of paper disappear to. because I started the day off organised, you can see, but now I'm not organised. It doesn't really matter if I can't find it because I can find it. Here it is. See if I can do it there. Now, years and years ago, when I came back from America, I lived in America for 6 years. Came back in kind of tail end of 1984, and I wanted to make a big load of money, just like that, big load of money. And I came up with this little idea to put an ad, and I can't promise that the advert that I'm going to tell you was the first advert. I'm pretty sure it was an iteration of adverts that ended up in the advert that I put in. But the advert that I put in was 3 words, and I'm going to show you where I put it in, because this is still going today. And this is the UK's best kept marketing secret. It's the business page of the Sunday Times. And all they have is normally half a page of business things. But people I've helped become millionaires out there is like nobody's business, alright? So I put this advert in that said venture capital alternative. 3 words. And I'm pretty sure it didn't start off as that. I'm pretty sure it started off as I raise money for businesses or something like that. But we ended up venture capital alternative. 3 magic words and a phone number. Now, you can imagine that advert is so small it's invisible to most people who see it. Who would see that advert? Venture capital alternative. Who would see it?
People looking for funding.
People looking for funding. Who else?
Venture capitalists.
Yeah, people who've been turned down for venture capital. If you've been turned down for venture capital, particularly over and over and over again, because most people get turned down for venture capital, what do you think they do? Send their business plan off to somebody else, right? Get turned down again. So if you've been turned down for venture capital over and over again and see an advert, venture capital alternative, what's the question you're going to ask? What's the alternative, right? Okay? So the phone rang off the hook. This one guy phoned up. What do you want? He said, my name's Bruce Snyder. He said, I have been trying to buy the building opposite the gates of the British Museum, the whole corner site. He says, I have tried everything to get the money to secure that corner site. I can't get the money. What does the venture capital alternative do? So I said, well, tell me that again. What have you tried? He says, I've tried everything. I said, well, I just wanted to hear that. I said, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? Absolutely. So we met up for coffee and we clicked. And I said, tell me a bit more about the project. He said, well, I'm trying to buy this whole corner site opposite the British Museum. It's 2 buildings on Museum Street and Great Russell Street, and I intend to knock them into one. Then I've got the whole corner site. And he says, the trouble is, I've tried everything to get the money. I said, well, just tell me that one more time, right? He says, I've tried everything. So I said, well, we're both clear on one thing. I said, if you've tried everything and you want me to raise you the money, I said, and I do raise you the money, I said, that's pretty good, isn't it? So I said, that would be worth more than my normal 2, 3, 4%, right? He said, yeah. He said, I've tried everything, it's impossible. I said, well, if you've tried everything, I said, how about we go 50-50 as partners? I don't just do it as a broker and raise you the money, we become partners. And do you know what he said? He said yes. So what did I say to that?
Ink on paper.
Ink on paper. So we drew up a proper legal agreement. This was not one of my A4 sheets where Ron writes the bullet points down. This was a proper legal agreement that we signed, sealed and delivered. And what do you think happened next? I got the money. Now, how many people do you think I had to ask before I got the money to secure that property? One. You're saying a lot. He's saying 1. Shall I tell you how many? About 89. I have never had my teeth kicked in so many times. No, 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 no. And I thought, oh my God, it was like being in a boxing ring. No, 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 no. He said, I told you it's impossible. No, and I kept going. No, no. And then this guy goes, yes. And me and old Bruce, oh my God, we did it and we secured the building. So this was a long time ago, and I think we paid, if I remember, for the 2 properties, $1.25 million for the 2 properties, and we bought them. Okay. we got the builders in and we followed Bruce's plan with the planning permission and everything else, and we knocked the 2 buildings into one. We did that, and then we got the building revalued for how much?
4 million.
3.9 million. Now, is that a coup? How much did that advert cost me to put in the Sunday Times at that time? 60 quid. It was 60 quid, right? Now, is that a coup or what? So, since then, I've shown so many people to put adverts in here. And I don't know if it's in there, but I'm going to quickly have a look just see if it is in here. It's not in this one because it would jump off the page at me. But this guy, about 2 years ago, came to a cash flow magic workshop exactly like this. And he didn't sit down. He stood at the back of the room for the whole day. He just stood there. So I've got this kind of eye connection with him, and he just stood there for the whole day. And when I'd finished, he came up to me and told me what he did. And he was selling a package at the time that was teaching people how to become business consultants using their life and industry experience. So if you had been made redundant or something like that and got years and years of industry experience or life experience, his package would show you how to become a business consultant. And the package was £17,000. And he would train you, teach you, give you certificates, everything. 17 grand package, turn your industry experience into becoming a business consultant. He said to me, I like what you just said about advertising in the Sunday Times. I've never tried it. And I said, well, why don't you start with like a one-liner that just says, I can turn your life and business industry experience into serious income as a business consultant. So it was just like 3 or 4 lines as a little tiny classified advert that I think cost him about 120 quid a week. Now, for the last 24 months, right, this was 2 years ago, right up till recently, it's not in there now, but he's been in there every single Sunday for 2 years. And how many packets does he sell at 17 grand a pop?
2.
Well, sometimes 2, 3 a week, and sometimes none. But enough for him to run that advert for 2 years. And it's now not just a one-liner, it's more like one of these bigger adverts, like that size, right? Because it's done so well, and it's still the same, but he's been in there with it, and has made a fortune, absolute fortune. Now, just a funny little aside, but some months back, we got talking on the phone, and he says, that deal that you showed me has gone so well, he says, I'm now ready to roll that out in America. And he says, I don't know how, right? And I just said, well, have you ever heard of the Wall Street Journal? Yeah. Have you ever heard of USA Today? Yeah. I said, well, why don't you just take that advert and put it in those 2 American papers? So what do you think he's done now? Why do you think he's not in the Sunday Times anymore? Where is he?